Congratulations for the results again. I'm Johnson from Central Investment Bank. I needed just a bit of clarification on a couple of issues here. I'll be a bit more general, except for the ESOPs bit. I think the market would like to see a bit more. I mean, if you would share with the market a bit more details on your ESOPs plan, so that it could be a bit more predictable for us, so that when you are doing our valuations, it's a bit easier. So number one issue then will be about the weakening dollar, a concern for us, and we know that will end up in higher prices. So I know you've been asked a question on hedging. I don't know how you're going to go about answering that. And secondly, will be I would pretty much like to know what government actions you'd like to see being undertaken, or how you'd like government to, participate or in the oil sector, or how you like to government to engage yourselves in the oil sector, so that we can have a more harmonious oil industry. And the third, I just wanted to know if you've got any plans on Southern Sudan.
The ESOP that's been issued so far, that was approved by the shareholders many, many years ago, is the 9 million shares. That hasn't changed at all. It's still in issue. What the shareholders approved at the past AGM was an additional share issue of 500 million shares to the ESOP. That hasn't been issued yet. Once that gets issued, then the issued share capital will increase from the 1.4 billion to the including this 500 million to the 1.9. And then the ESOPs will come in and obviously form the base of the earnings per share computations and that sort of thing.
Oh, he wants to know that.
Oh, no.
So we'll explain it.
Yeah.
We'll explain it.
The ESOP scheme works like this. There's two ESOPs under this one trust. The one is for employees, and that one doesn't have what we call a strike price. So when the shares get issued to the employees as like a bonus, it just gets issued to them, and they are entitled to hold we call them units because the shares are owned by the trust. So the employee can hold the unit, and then they can earn dividends, obviously, when the trust earns dividend. Or they can sell it, and then it comes back to the trust. So that's the one tranche. Then there's the ESOP options that are for the executives. That one, a strike price is set. The trust deed stipulates that there's a certain time every year that the strike price is measured. So
no, it's not certain time. Yeah. It's a very clear, specific.
Yeah.
It is 5 days around the 9th of December of every year. Yeah. You can write it down so you follow. There is no backdating and all this stuff, which you see in the US and Europe and so on.
It's very specific. So you can't manipulate. If that share price is high on the 9th of December, that's what you have to pay if you get granted that share option. If it's low, then all the good to you, because by the time that option vests in 3 years' time, you can either keep it or sell it. But at the time of exercising that option, the executive has to pay that strike price. So that's how that ESOP works.
Okay. Then you asked about the weakening of the dollar. I don't know what is the question exactly. What is our view on that? Or it's a fact. The dollar, not the dollar, the shilling is weakening. So what was the question?
Even the dollar.
Yeah.
That's why you see higher commodity prices.
Oh yeah, there is yes, it's a fair point. There is a correlation between international oil prices and the strength or weakness of the dollar, mainly vis-a-vis the euro and the Japanese yen. Yes, when the dollar weakens against these major currencies, you see oil prices going up. Okay, when it strengthens, not necessarily that you see it coming down. That's another issue, but that is mainly because of the perception and all these kind of things. Yeah, it's a major issue in Kenya in terms of weakening, I mean, local currencies weakening, and not only in Kenya, across. Pat mentioned we are trading with about 8 local currencies. It's a major issue for us. We are trying to hedge as much as possible. There is a board resolution on the hedging policy that will hedge at least 50% of our monthly requirement, okay? So we do have systems in place on that issue. And that was, I think, the third question, what is the policy on the hedging? The fourth question was action by governments. And I want to respond to this question in general, not specifically Kenya, not specifically any other country. If you ask us as management, and maybe even as a board, I can tell you that we wish to see less involvement as possible by any government in the oil industry, and I may say in the economy at large. That's our business, economic philosophy and beliefs. At least mine, and I know my board and I know my team, they all believe so. Why? You know, you're a smart guy as well, and you know very well. We think that it's better to let the private sector, the business community to run on the basis of market forces without much of intervention by governments. Okay?